Hey everybody, welcome back inside another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is September 9th, 2019, and a relatively quiet show this week after, of course, our big All Japan model and hobby show coverage last week. So we just have a few additional items that have been added to the Aoshima spot runs for October, and then we have this week's kit releases. So mercifully short after a couple of longer videos that have been put up here in the last couple of days. So the Aoshima stuff is a reissue of their 2011 Subaru Sambar pickup truck and the World Rally Blue limited edition version. Reissue of their Daihatsu Copen Ultimate Edition, which does build two or three other versions as well, including the export spec, the left-hand drive. We never got the Daihatsu Copen here in the United States, but it was exported to places like Germany and other European countries where they drive on what will be the correct side of the road. Reissue of their R34 GTR Z-Tune, the Tamiya kit, even though it is not necessarily 100% accurate, is still a better version of the R34 just on its base than any of the Aoshima ones. I have a couple of Aoshima R34s myself, but they are things that Tamiya didn't do, and there are no like conversions for, like the R-Tune, the S-Tune, the mines, and things like that. But overall, Aoshima's chassis, most of the things are molded into it, unlike the Tamiya one where most of the things are not molded into it. So keep that in mind when you're going after that. I think the Z-Tune's still in the catalog. So, Aoshima's is really nothing special. They did do a Z-Tune that has a slightly different front bumper, has a Nismo bumper on it rather than the Z-Tune's regular bumper. So if you're looking for that, like little nth degree kind of thing, that's available. But, one of those things where this is not the recommended Z-Tune as far as I'm concerned, but be that as it may. Also, a reissue of their Nissan Silvia Super Silhouette race car, so that would come back to. We noticed that, or we had mentioned in the last video when we were talking about Aoshima's October stuff, that it was just wheel sets and there were no kits attached to it. So they've added 4 kits to it, and that will be that next month. So moving on to the kit releases this week, they're all stuff that's overseas. A few Hasegawa items, a few Fujimi items. I'm noticing already that I don't have images of the couple of things from Fujimi that I wanted to talk about, which are their actual kits releases this month, or 2 of their actual kit releases this month. So as I quickly go over here and, re-download these pictures, I will tell you all about what a crazy, nonsensical week at work I just had. My night guy called me, or actually I called him to tell him what we were doing this week, and he decided that he wasn't going to work there anymore. So, yay. This week ought to be really, really entertaining as I try to figure out my life without a support driver on the opposite shift. Yay. All right, so now that we have gotten those images where we need them to be, let's talk about the kit, shall we? Enough about my personal life. We have, like I said, several releases from Fujimi, a couple from Hasegawa. So the Fujimi stuff on the straight reissue train. This is all stuff actually that was supposed to come out last month, but it's out finally. Straight reissue of their version of the Mitsubishi Pajero. They're calling it the full option because I guess it's got like some off-road bits in it that the other Pajero that they offered does not. It's got a roof rack with some surfboard and some front, a skid plate and a front bull rack or brush guard, or however you want to consider that front thing to be, with the driving lights on it. I apologize for these pictures being itty-bitty tiny things, but when they were restocked into Hobby Search, they didn't rescan the box art, so we're still going from like some old images in the past. Their Pajero does have left-hand drive in it, which technically makes it a Montero at that point, because the Pajero is only a Japanese vehicle name as far as I know. I believe it's a Montero outside of the United States. So, at any rate, that's back out. Reissue of this, the Subaru Impreza WRX STI, the 2005 version. I don't believe you can build anything else out of this. There were some kits that were released that has sort of 2 versions in it. I don't believe this one does. I think it's just a straight WRX STI. So that's a reissue of that. That is only a right-hand drive kit. And then a straight reissue of this, which is their Nissan Silvia RS. This is a very, 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 very basic kit in terms of chassis, interior, and things like that. I'm not necessarily sure how proportionally correct the body is because this whole thing is basically an old motorized toy. But, it's back out there for people who want to take a whack at it. Also, a straight reissue of this, which is their S14 Nissan Silvia. And this one does come with two different versions in the box. You can build it as the K. We talked about this a little while ago when Aoshima was reissuing their R31, their S13 Silvia, and it could build in the JQK Ultimate version, which is the trim levels on a Silvia are based on the face cards on a deck of cards. So it's Jack, Queen, King. So this is the King version. It's not quite the top of the line version. There's a couple of trim levels just above it, which have very minor additions. Really, the King is pretty much the top of the line. And you could also build the Autech version as well. Differences are the front fascia, the wheels. Obviously, the Autech has a different rear spoiler. I think there's a couple minor interior differences. I think the seats are different in these. I have two of them. I should probably look at them, but I'm just going to go with that. Also has window masks in it for the first time, which I've never had before. In that release, those two kits were separate in the past, and when they were released in the past, they didn't have window masks. If you've ever bought that specific kit, it's always had window masks, but you get what I'm going for there. And then the two kit releases that are actually September releases, I believe, yes. Yes, they are, and I didn't even check them off the list. So these are your two Yoshiko Megatalk releases for the month of September. First up, you have another version of the S110 Nissan Silvia RS. This is the exact same kit, just as a anime police car, as the Miracle Tuning Car Roman, as it were. This anime series is from the 1980s, obviously, so obviously it's a 1980s vehicle. I got a lot else to say about this. I mean, this is the same kit as the other one. I think it has a slightly different grille. It has police parts. That light bar is just as goofy in real life as it looks like on the drawing of the box. And, again, if you're a fan of the series, then you're happy to see this. If you don't have any idea what this basically is just a reissue of a motorized toy with some police car parts, very badly scaled police car parts at that added to it. And then there's this Yoshiko Megatalk reissue, which is their 1971 Nissan Skyline GTR. This kit is the same regular Skyline GTR as you would get if you just bought one of them. So it has, and this is one of these kits, much like the 240Z, where it has an engine. You have to cut the hood off the car because it's meant to be a curbside. It does have an engine, but there's no engine bay, right? If you put the engine in it and you just open the hood, you're just going to be looking at the top of the chassis pan. It doesn't have inner fender wells. It doesn't have strut towers. It doesn't have a firewall, best brake cylinder, anything to do with the engine, other than the fact that there is an engine in there. So, that's cool. There's an engine in there. You always take it and put it in something else. So basically, this is just a straight reissue of that Skyline, just with some decals thrown in to go with this anime series. And it's the best of the 71, 73. I think I called it 73 on the box art, but be that as it may. Best of this generation GTR as far as the kits go, but it still has its limitations because Fujimi. And then we go over to, and I don't have this stuff checked off either. Boy, man, I downloaded the images, but I did not update the old notebook of knowledge here. I guess there's only one thing that came out. The other things are checked off. So, anyway, we got the Hasegawa stuff here. Straight reissue. Hasegawa, we got this. It's the Isuzu Gemini ZZ handling by Lotus. So this kit came out a year and a half ago, I want to say, at this point, with its BBS wheels and whatnot. This is molded in a sort of a dark, I don't think it's metallic necessarily, but it is molded in a dark green. Some people, throw it up. Some people are happy, some people aren't. I am indifferent because this car, as it came, only came in British Racing Green, so it's not like, it's a bad thing. I know there's people out there right now throwing themselves over their floor talking about how they can't build box stock or box art or anything with a box, but if you're going to build that thing, ask what it represents. It was metallic green, and there was no other color it came in. There were only a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 of them made in the first place, so it's not like it's a, it's not really, if you're building it as a ZZ Tomb by Lotus, it's not really open for interpretation. It was what it was. Speaking of something else that was what it was, is this release, I believe this is a reissue in terms of the livery has been there in the past. This is the Taka Q livery Toyota 88C Le Mans car. So this ran in, I want to say 1988. 24 Hours of Le Mans. Okay, I guess. Finish. It was obviously not a winning car or anything like that. It's curbside, like all Group C Hasegawa kits are. You might get a little bit of the transaxle in the back, and the dashboard attaches to the inside of the body and things like that. They're not bad kits. They're just very simple. They're pretty quick builds. This version, the way that the decals are laid out for it in the back, by where the rear wheels are, you paint the back half of the car black, the front half of the car yellow, and then the white stripe that delineates between the white, the yellow, and the black is in the decals, and then that back yellow stripe that's right in front of the rear wheels, that's just a stripe through the black, that is a decal as well. So it's not as complicated a paint scheme as it looks when you look at the box art. The decals do sort of break it up a little bit and make it a little bit easier. So that's back out there, and then the last kit we're going to talk about this week is the reissue of their Corolla 11 AE 101 JTCC car. This is for the 1993 JTCC. I guess, even though obviously we've licensed the 5 Zijan livery, maybe we can't call it the 5 Zijan car because nobody knows what that is. I don't know. At any rate, this kit actually does have the right wheels in it. There's 2 kits coming out this month from Hasegawa that are race car, specific outside of Group C. It's this JTCC car and the Lancia Grand Touring car one-off. And we know, at least from the literature, that the Lancia is not going to have the right wheels in it. And I didn't think this one was going to either. I figured they just threw a set of decals into the box. It appears to have the right set of wheels, which I'm not sure this set of wheels is shared by anything else. I don't know if they tooled a new set of wheels, or maybe these wheels were just laying around also on, ran on something else as far as, throughout all of their kits. I'd have to dig all of my 11s out and see if the set of wheels was in one of the other kits. I just don't remember. But this, as far as the livery goes, is just a painted white, decals do everything else kind of thing. All of the various orange and green and red, and there's actually no green in that, I don't think, but orange, yellow, and blue, I should say. Stripes are done with decals, and then, of course, all the livery stuff itself is. This car did win a race in its class. This is right before 1994 when everything went to FIA Group 2 specs, which were sedans. So this is the last season of JTCC in its 3 engine divisions with, the R32, the R32 being just the dominant factor in JTCC from 90 through the 93 seasons, and really 89 through 93. And then the Group 2 being the BMW M3s primarily, and then the Group 3 cars, which were these Levins, the Civics, and all the other sort of compact cars under 1,500cc engines. So, yeah, very cool to have that, because this livery is something that had not been done in the past, and it plugs a hole in the 1993 JTCC season. And if you've watched the videos that we've done on sort of not so much the history of JTCC, but the history of kits for JTCC, or JTC, technically is the right thing. The second C is championship, and the Japanese just refer to it as Japanese touring car. So, at any rate, this plugs a hole in that 93 season where there aren't a lot of specific kits for 93 in the first place, and there's not a lot of liveries specific to 1993 either. So, it's for me personally, I've already got mine in my personal warehouse at Hobby Link Japan, so I'm just thrilled to see that come out. And, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. So we are obviously in the second week of September. Everything is, to come out. There's all of the very large quantities of round 2 reissues this month. We have the Aoshima stuff that still obviously doesn't come out till the end of the month. Many Hasegawa things to go. A few random bits and pieces as far as Fujimi this month. I will say that for whatever reason, and it's not out in Japan yet, and we'll sort of cover them when they do come out, but if you're interested in them, the 1994 Toyota Carina British touring car and its photo etch, and the BT52 Brabham, BT52B Brabham F1 car, the 1/20th scale kit, and its photo etch, are available in Hong Kong and for some reason at Spot Model in Spain. So I think this is sort of, you're seeing a little bit of the beginnings of the end of the Aoshima distribution, where Hong Kong and Europe have these kits before Japan does. So if you want one, they're available. They're out there. They're in stock both places. I checked this morning to make sure that it wasn't just an early accidental kind of pre-list like Hobby Easy right now, which is a vendor in Hong Kong that I use. Says that the 2020 or 2019, depending on what year they decide to call it, Toyota Supra Gazoo Racing trim car is supposed to come out at the end of October, which of course is malarkey because it's not even available for pre-order in Japan. So I think that's probably not a technically correct release date. So yeah, if you're interested in those two and you don't want to wait for Japan because you didn't put them on pre-order, yeah, you can get them in Europe or in Hong Kong. So they're out there technically. So just throw that out there for you. I hesitate to cover them in the show only because then people who do buy through Japan are going to be like, well, it's not out yet. So anyway, if you're not dependent on the Japanese, you can get them. So anyway, I think that pretty much wraps this one up, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope everybody had a much less interesting weekend than I did. And we'll see how this week turns out, huh? We'll see you guys on the other side.